Hello and welcome to Friday First with me, Annan.
And me, Doug. We'll be bringing you the latest news from updates from the Students' Union nominations in today's show.
Voting is now open for the University of Salford Students' Union election. Candidates will be campaigning for 1 week.
Voting will close on Thursday at 4 p.m. with the results being announced live at Atmosphere Bar. Jessica Tidgwell spoke to the candidates for the Arts and Media Officer.
The University of Salford is holding its annual elections this month for students to take on the roles of President, Arts and Media Officer, Business and Law Officer, Health and Social Care Officer and Science and Technology Officer. We went to speak to the Arts and Media candidates to find out more.
Huge discount, or in some cases free, software, textbooks that are a necessity for completing your course. And the beauty this year is once you've made your vote, you're not then committed to that person. This year is the first year where they're running it where you can change your vote.
It's about raising mental health awareness, and I'd hope to do this, at least at first, with a lecture shout out at the beginning of the year across all campuses.
Constantly open discussion on social media and have a constant dialogue going where myself as a union officer, the union and the students can all learn from each other so everybody knows what's going on.
I also want to encourage collaboration between creative courses there's a lot of film students that could use drama students or fashion students to help out and a bunch of other stuff like that.
Voting begins today at 9 a.m. and closes next Thursday at 4 p.m. The university encourages everyone to join in and have their say. You can place your vote by accessing Blackboard and the Students' Union or via email.
Vote for me and I will represent you to the best of my ability. Let's get this university on the map. This is the best media university in the country and we want to tell everybody because it is.
More students involved in Media City, more to do with it. Another main thing is timetabling within the faculty, so try and get more better organisation.
For so many wealth of experience to perform and to make people happy, and especially all the students satisfaction. So I'm ready to make sure that it's constructive, welfareism, some kind of a forum for support for every student in the campus.
The election results will be announced at the Atmosphere Bar on Friday the 11th of March at 4 p.m. So be sure to make your vote if you want to make a change to the University of Salford.
The British Rights Collections relaunched yesterday at Salford Uni's Mary Seacole building. The art exhibition explores the taboo surrounding the child and birth and women's rights for the 8th year, but this time with 11 new pieces.
Well, it's an art collection of contemporary artwork on the subject of birth, which is completely unusual because there isn't another one in the world. The aim of the collection is to collect works, to promote work on this subject, to give artists the opportunity to show their work because sometimes it's quite hard to show work on this subject, and also to generate a discussion around ideas around birth, the politics and practice of childbirth, agency, the agency of the mother, all of those questions.
Now, over 3,500 people attended Reclaim the Night on Thursday, an annual march in Manchester protesting against sexual violence and harassment. Our reporter Laura Bailey joined the march.
Between September and November of 2014, Greater Manchester Police reported that there were 51 physical and sexual attacks on female students in Manchester. Reclaim the Night attendants carried empowering signs and chanted collectively during the march, which commenced in Owens Park, Fallowfield, and headed towards the University of Manchester Student Union on Thursday night. The march is ahead of International Women's Day on March 8th. Jess Lishak, Women's Officer at the University of Manchester, organised the march.
Reclaim Night is for the people who actually go to it. I think it's an incredibly empowering experience for anyone really, women who've experienced the issues that we're talking about or who deal with the fear of these issues and the fear of harassment and violence on an everyday basis, and it affects their lives. I think it's incredibly liberating to be around people who agree with them that stuff like this has to stop, and also for allies and men and other people to kind of be involved who also want the same aims and who might struggle from some of those issues, whether it's from them or someone close to them. So for those people, I think it's incredibly important, and it means a lot. But also it's for people who aren't necessarily on the march but see it. So decision makers, people in the media, people just walking past, like it's so powerful to see 2,000-3,000 people walk down the road on quite a cold February evening, like campaigning for change. And I think it makes a lot of people kind of sit up and realise that this is a big issue, and a lot of people are affected by street harassment, sexual violence against women, and victim blaming, and people care enough to kind of come out on a cold night and try and make it obvious. So
the march was led by a women's only block and followed by a mixed block open to all genders. There was also a LGBT, youth and family block. This year's march had a focus on the need for proper education on consent and healthy relationships.
I've come to march for Kesha and also for LGBT and gender equality, which is two things that are really, really important to me. It's such an amazing event tonight because we get to, talk and shout about what we're really interested in, which is equality after all.
We're here to support women in the fight against the patriarchy. We were here to show that men can also be a sign of feminism.
Fight the stigma against male feminists, because we exist.
Yeah.
Laura Bailey, Quays News.
Salford Volleyball Club endured a mixed emotions this week as both the men and the women were in the Northern Conference Cup action at the semi-final stage for the first time in Salford's history. Theo Chikomba has this report.
Salford's men's volleyball team struggled in the first set against the University of Manchester. They trailed 25-18 as they headed into the second set. During the second set, they managed to apply pressure and get the score back to 1-1 with a close score of 26-24. Final moments of the thrilling game led it to the fifth set at 2-2. Salford's men began to turn up the heat and eventually won 15-7 against league leaders University of Manchester to reach the final of the cup.
So obviously with both volleyball men's and women's teams getting through to the semi-finals of the cup, we actually gave them an extra training session for the last couple of weekends, and they're going to continue to have that for the rest of the term. So luckily we had a slot come available on the weekend, and I asked if they wanted to have it, and they were really excited. And I think having that extra time just to spend with the coach has probably made the difference today. It's fantastic, and I think both the men and the women's really support each other in the game. Like you saw the women's team here supporting the men's, a lot of the men's are staying behind. So I think it's great, that kind of a real one club feeling. It's not kind of segregated in terms of a men's and a women's team, and again it just shows the strength between both the men's and women's sides here at Salford, that we've got a really good and upcoming volleyball club which has only really been running for 2 to 4 years. It's a relatively new club, so for one to already have made the final, hopefully have another one after the women's match this afternoon, it'd be huge for Salford Volleyball Club.
We play against them all the time, but it was quite exciting to win, obviously, but we didn't play our best today, so it's a good win, but it's not a win that I'm satisfied with as a captain. I know we could do well. Our coach, without him, we probably wouldn't be winning this game or even one set. But he pulled us through. Well, it's great. It's great for uni that we get recognition, and the guys are super excited to be in the finals now. And we're gonna cheer for the girls today. Hopefully they'll win, and we both be finalists.
Top of the league, Salford's women.
That's everything for Friday First today.
Stay tuned for Chatterboxes after the weather.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Good afternoon everyone. Now we've had a downpour of sleet and snow to start the day, but don't get too excited for a snow day. With temperatures of around 3 degrees and rain forecast for later this afternoon, it's not likely to stick around. Although warnings for snow and ice, these wintry flurries make the roads hazardous, so do be careful when travelling. The outlook for tomorrow's weather is looking slightly more positive, as we're expecting a break of sunny spells up till about 3 p.m, where temperatures will be sitting at the 5 to 6 degree mark, with few wintry showers. Thankfully, on Sunday it is due to remain dry and bright with lows of 5 degrees into the evening, and Monday morning is due to be rainy, then slowly dying out, leaving a dry afternoon with again those scattered wintry showers. That's all from the weather. Have a lovely day.
and welcome to Chatterboxes, a Quays media production.
That's right, Kate. Today we have an action-packed show for you, so sit back and relax.
First today, a club promoter has come under fire after advertising a hostess job at his club to women who are, as he puts it, 8 out of 10 and above. But Ellie Caitlin Doward went to find out more.
Nightclub experience, but only if you're an 8 out of 10 or above. That is the view of club promoter Johnny Ransom, who posted a tweet advertising a hostessing job at Birdcage for women who fit his rating.
8 out of 10's like a unicorn. It's something beautiful that we all hope to see. I think everybody in the world, to an extent, or in England predominantly, has an idea of what beauty is, and does, although they may not admit it, have an idea of ratings that they'd give somebody. Now, the 8 out of 10 tweet, or the 8 out of 10 part of that in my tweet was a joke. Like, it clearly wasn't meant as like, 8 out, like I said, 7.9, you don't get in. But it is meant in the way that we're looking for attractive girls.
The tweet offered job applicants free alcohol, money and dancing, and attracted criticism from Manchester Central MP Lucy Powell, who called it offensive, seedy and immature.
The tweet naturally was a little bit jovial, a little bit light-hearted. It wasn't meant as seriously as some may have taken it. I think in a lot of respects, a lot of people saw it like that. Some may not have, obviously, as a result. The newspaper articles got quite into the seriousness of the tweet, which it wasn't meant like that,
Despite the controversy, Johnny remains unapologetic. The tweet seems to have worked in his favour, as he claims he's received a high number of applicants for the hostess role. Let's just hope they're up to his standards. Ellie Doward, Quays News.
Now, Ellie joins us in the studio to talk a little more on the subject, and also International Women's Day. Ellie, you're a journalist for feminist magazine Beljar. The tweet got quite a strong reaction. Is this common for the hostessing industry?
Sadly, I think it is quite common for this sort of industry, nightclubs and that sort of thing. I think it got such a strong reaction because he was so blatantly kind of using this rating system to rate women on levels of attractiveness. For a job that he was advertising, and people thought, that's so unbelievably sleazy. How can that sort of thing be allowed?
Yeah,
So-
I mean, we were talking a bit before about if there was a model advertisement and things like that, there wouldn't be a model advertising stating that you have to be an 8 out of 10 to do that
Yeah.
role. So it is completely different to that, and he could have gone about it a completely different way. What do you reckon to that?
Yeah, definitely. I think he tried to pull it back, kind of defend himself by saying hostessing is equivalent to modelling in some ways and that it's about the image, but it was just the fact that he was kind of saying, I will rate you, come to me if you think you're good looking. There was something so seedy and obnoxious about it. That's why I think it got quite a bad reaction.
Well, on a positive note, it's International Women's Day on Tuesday, and there's
It
loads
is.
of events going on in Manchester, including a few that started over the weekend.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a bit more about the day?
Yeah, International Women's Day is globally celebrated, and all different organisations, women's charities, things like that, have a theme to celebrate the day. And Manchester's is Women's Voices, so a lot of the events will be women poets, kind of exhibitions of women's work. It's about listening to women's unique experiences of oppression, and just listening to their voices. So that's our theme.
Okay, thanks, Lily.
Thank you.
It's that time once again. After the extremely successful debut of the Manchester International Film Festival last year, the organisers have now launched the second ever festival.
Take a look at this.
That all looks very exciting, doesn't it, Kate?
I know, it does look quite good.
We'll have to go and watch some films.
We do, and we also have a special guest in our studio today, one of our lovely film reporters, Anam. So Anam, when is the next Manchester International Film?
It's actually started, and what's it all about? Well, it's very unique in the sense that it's the second edition of a film festival which showcases a variety of films, shorts and sports featuring including UK and world premieres. This year they have a variety of international premieres including Despite the Falling Snow, which stars Rebecca Ferguson from Mission Impossible Rogue Nation and the Game of Thrones. So you may ask who's attending, what's the festival all about? It has so many new guests, and it's really interesting to see. The festival also has the Music Saturday programme. Now that features live performances by Vince Giordano, the US star of World of Broadwalk Empire, and numerous Woody Allen films. This is not the normal show, and it kick-starts with an opening gala feature with Dennis Violet, a united man. Following a lineup of strong sports films, this year the programme includes segments such as Inspiring Women in Film, produced by female directors, with titles such as A Beautiful Snow and Redemption, headlining a series of special discussions with the filmmakers themselves.
Wow, it sounds very interesting. Thanks for joining us today, and I really do appreciate it.
Thanks. The big news this week is that the Greater Manchester Run has officially launched. The 10k run across Greater Manchester will be held on Sunday, the 22nd of May.
Take a peek at how Quays TV took part last year, raising money for the Joseph Salmon Trust.
Running for the Great Manchester Run 2015. This is my first ever 10k in Manchester. I did the Salford 10k last year, both of which I'm doing for the Joseph Salmon Trust. It helps parents that have dealt with child bereavement, so it's really, it is for a good cause. There's loads of people about. I didn't think it'd be this busy. When you're running with loads of other people, it just makes it a little bit more exciting, a little bit more worthwhile, do you know what I mean? So it should be good, it's exciting, perfect weather for it, it's not too hot. So when I get my sweat on later, hopefully I'll be alright, I'll be cool, it'll be good.
So I've just ran the Manchester 10k. This is the third year in a row that I've done it. Each year it doesn't get any easier. The only saving grace of this year was that it wasn't the hottest day of the year like last year, and I managed to do a little bit of training this year. Like I said, it doesn't make it any easier. I don't think it's a particularly flat course, but it's all in for a good cause, and hopefully all the money Neil and the Joseph Salmon Trust can use, and it'll really help families, and it's a really good cause, so people should definitely be donating to it.
I can't wait for it to start.
That was just the warm-up, wasn't it?
No, it was really good fun. I went a lot quicker than I thought. I thought I would have done it in over an hour, but turns out I've beaten Ross by
18 seconds. Which is really annoying, because I know that you didn't train at all.
No, I didn't. No, I trained
and
about
I actually
3 weeks
tried
ago.
to train a little bit up until about 3 weeks ago.
Tried.
All right,
Not good enough, clearly. But no, we've got next year, haven't we, Ross?
Well,
Best of luck.
yeah.
Best of luck.
Now, if you want to get involved, head over to greatrun.org to sign your name up today. Do you fancy it, Max?
I don't know. I'm a bit out of shape. Well, anyway, if it keeps like this, the weather, we probably won't be running. And the weather here in Manchester has got us bemused at the moment. But if you're looking for some proper amusement, there's plenty of comedy coming up. We're joined in the studio by our comedy man himself, Jack Gledder. So, Jack, what's in store?
There's loads of comedy coming up this week and next week as well. Well, Chris Ramsey's coming in the area, Jason Manford, Catherine Ryan. It's all at the Comedy Store on the Lowry, so there's some fantastic events coming up.
What about some local comedy that we can enjoy?
Well, there's the Comedy Store, the regular King Gong night, which is brutal. It's like 30 acts that all have to go on and do a maximum of 5 minutes. But if the audience don't like them, they get booed off, they get things chucked at them and stuff. And I did it in December.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, I did it in December and I won, and I got 50 quid. So I'm going to try and do it again to get 50 quid again.
I see, so you're actually do a bit of comedy yourself, so
yeah,
do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's really fun. Like, I started out about 4 years ago, and I knew Chris Ramsey before he was famous. So it's really cool to see him do like massive places now, because I remember seeing him in the small venues and with, like, people that didn't know who he was, and he was always like destined for stardom. So it's good to see people do well.
Great. Okay, well, thank you for joining us, Jack, and we'll keep those dates in mind. Next up, vegan protesters challenged meat eaters across Manchester this week with protests in the city centre.
Yes, the protesters encouraged passers-by to think about the connection between animals on the farm and the meat on their plate.
Is to Go Vegan, which believes in non-violence, compassion, equality and respect for all species, which means not exploiting any animals for the products that come from them or for the flesh that they are made out of.
Yeah, I mean, it made sense 100, 200, 300 years ago, but we need to evolve. That's the way I see it. Not just for ourselves, but also for all the animals that are suffering.
Yesterday it was World Book Day, featuring schools across the UK getting dressed up and delving into books. In the studio we are joined by Rachel Williams to talk about the campaign. So Rachel, what is World Book Day all about?
Well, I'm sure we all remember it from primary school. 1997 was the first one, so it's been around for 19 years.
That is quite a long time.
Next year will be the big 20. It's obviously World Book Day. All the children in primary schools, they dress up as their favourite book character.
Yeah, they do. And what's been the most popular one this year, would you say? Because it was World Book Day yesterday, wasn't it?
It was yesterday.
Yeah, what's the most popular character?
Most popular character? I'd say it varies on different children's opinions with their favourite books. But I can tell you the most popular children's book at the moment is David Williams' Awful Auntie. It's very funny read.
I wasn't expecting that one.
I think David Williams is like the 2016's version of Roald Dahl.
Very nice, very nice. Well, thanks for joining us on that, Rachel. Sorry we couldn't chat longer for World Book Day.
It's okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, make sure to follow us on all of our social media. Visit our website by going to your favourite web browser and typing in quaysnews.net.
Yep, that's all we have time for today. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.